And what we're going to do is talk about some of the reasons why companies make mistakes. Now, let me first of all have a volunteer to anybody who taught anything. Has anybody here ever taught anything? Anything at all? China, what did you teach?
How to ride jet skis.
How to what?
Ride jet skis.
Ride jet skis. When you're standing on the edge of the beach, did you ever point out to somebody in the water who fell off and said, "Don't do what that guy did"? Forget to have the thing hooked up to your wrist and the thing keeps going?
Yeah.
Alright, so sometimes when you teach people things, it's a good idea to show what other people are doing wrong so you can avoid that, right? In the case of e-commerce, we've got two categories of things to think about. Do you remember from Intro to Business, the 4 Ps and the 6 environments? So one of the things we could think about in terms of dot-com failures, things to avoid, is were they ignorant of any of those 4 Ps? For example, product. Did they make their product out of wood when everybody else was converting to metal? Or did they make their product with a certain color paint that turned out to have lead in it, which was toxic? In terms of price, were they ignorant of how the competition was decreasing their price, and theirs ended up being more expensive? Promotion. Some companies have a blend. They use radio, they use TV, they use flyers. Did the company focus only on radio because they thought it was cheapest, and forget that TV stations are desperate for TV advertising? You can get a small little TV commercial on local TV for a cheap price, so they ignored that. And lastly, place. Remember when Krispy Kreme came into Canada and everybody was excited about that? You know why Tim Hortons kicked their ass? Because everywhere you go, there's a Tim Hortons. So Krispy Kreme had a fantastic product. The price was competitive. They used all kinds of promotion. You know, like a lot of movies, you see the guy with the Krispy Kreme box, publicity. But the big weakness of Krispy Kreme was you couldn't get it many places. They forgot that 4th P there. Now, the 6 environments also influences the success of business. Technological environment. That could be things like putting content on a web page in Flash in 2005, and not many people have Adobe software installed so they can't see your cool Flash intro. Or making things that are so large it takes too long to load on the web page and people can't see it because they're using dial-up or they don't have high speed where they are. Competitive environment. If you don't have any competition, you can pretty much do what you want. But if there's a lot of competition, you have to be very, very careful because you always have to monitor that in order to make sure what you're doing doesn't appear to be a failure compared to the competition. Social cultural environment. I'll give you one example. All the banks in Toronto these days are fussing over Chinese customers. Do you know what? They've made a failure to recognize the current demographic trends in the GTA. The Chinese community is not the largest and fastest growing demographic. It's the people from India and Sri Lanka. If you don't know that, you haven't been to Brampton or out near the airport. Just represent. Now, the point I'm getting at is that's a 2007-2008 fact versus a 2005-2004 fact. Social cultural environment. Political, legal, regulatory environment. All kinds of laws and rules and regulations that affect businesses. If a company knew about that smoking bylaw that's coming into effect in the summer of 2007, and they were a small bar downtown on Richmond Street, they could make arrangements for a back patio to be built so people could smoke out there. Or they could find out about getting around the law by creating a membership and have a smokers' members' room or these types of things. Also, the economic environment. Anybody know what the Canadian dollar is today?
Nothing?
Yes.
About 83 cents US?
Like 70.
It was a couple of days ago, but boom, it's gone down to 79.
Oh, wow.
It was 82, then 81 and a half, and 79 really fast. So if you're a company and you're pricing your products in Canadian dollars to be bought by Americans, you have to know that because the Canadian dollar is dropping, it's cheaper for Americans to buy. If you're going to import from overseas, it's going to be more expensive. So that's an example of the economic environment changes. Lastly, the geographic environment. This is the one that a lot of people don't think about too much. But I'm looking around the classroom, and here we are inside a building, but a lot of people got coats on because outside right now today it's like minus 18 degrees. The geographic environment is not just whether it's cold or not, but simple things like lights in a building have to be turned on because the sun sets at about 5 o'clock in first week in January. People driving in the wintertime, safety, salt on the roads, parking space limited because of snowbanks. All kinds of things like this are the consequences of the geographic environment. Food in the restaurants, distances to travel, time zones. So, If you attend to all of these things, chances are then you won't make a mistake in terms of a .com failure. Thanks.